Live on DAZN Worldwide, April 26th, Eubank Jr versus Benn. 30 years of rivalry and hatred.
I do hate him.
All comes down to this. The next generation, a new destroyer. For family, history, legacy. Eubank Jr versus Benn, April 26th. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Charlie Parsons for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on DAZN. Ben Shalom says he can't see. You're going to have to get used to many a light brighter than this. What a final press conference here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium ahead of a massive, massive clash. Chris Eubank Jr against Conor Benn, April 26th, live on DAZN. Ben, wow. It's
intense. I was just sat there thinking, wow. There isn't a better orator in world boxing than Chris Eubank Jr. There isn't. Every time he's in a press conference, he absolutely rips the living shit out of it. It was incredible viewing. At times a little uncomfortable. But
where did you find it most uncomfortable?
I didn't, when Frank got up, but I won't, you know. It was just I don't know what it was like to watch on the other side, but it was an incredible press conference. Chris made his points extremely well. I think the whole of the country is behind Chris Eubank Jr. I truly believe that. And yeah, what a fight we have, because Conor looked ready to go, really ready to go. Chris is calm, calculated, ready for a weigh-in tomorrow, which is obviously a big talking point, but what an unbelievable spectacle, what an unbelievable fight. I didn't think I could get more excited for the fight than seeing that. It's intense, the camps are ready. Clearly Conor's had an amazing camp. They wouldn't just be talking shit. Nigel wouldn't be talking. They've had an amazing camp, which makes for a big, big fight. And I'm really looking forward to Chris performing on Saturday.
Let's talk about a couple of the main takeaways from the press conference. Eubank Jr instantly started interrupting Eddie Hearn, and in comes Frank Smith. I mean, what did you make of that? I bet you weren't expecting that. I don't think any of us were.
I wasn't expecting it. I was worried about where it was going at that point. But Chris controlled the press conference. Frank wasn't allowed to speak either. And just phenomenal viewing. As I say, when Chris Eubank Jr speaks, the whole place goes quiet. I don't know if you can see that on TV, but he commands respect. Has an unbelievable presence. There's no one that's done that to Eddie. There's no one that's done that to them. I get on with Eddie now, so I hope he's okay. You know, I'll probably be seeing if he's all right tonight. But Chris is a phenomenon, and he feels very strongly about everything that he says, and you have to respect everything that he says. And yeah, I'm truly blessed to be involved in an event like this. I truly am. I was saying up there, October '93, the year I was born in Manchester, the year that second fight happened in Manchester. And now to be involved in something like this, it's not about myself, but for everyone involved. I think the families, everyone involved knows that they're involved in something massive, and yeah, it's incredible.
Chris is a hard character to read at the best of the times, but I found this week he's been very open. I spoke to him yesterday with DAZN. He was unbelievably open. We just caught up with him now, once again, even at the press conference, talking about the pain and what he's been through. I know your working relationship not particularly long, but what are you noticing the more you see about Chris Eubank Jr?
Look, to be fair, we have promoted his last 5 or 6 fights, and I've always found him an incredibly intelligent human being, a very proud man, a very honest guy, and someone that's been through a lot. Is he difficult? He is difficult. But you can never accuse him of being anything but himself. You can never accuse him of lying, and you can never accuse him of cheating, and I think that was the point that he was making. He's an exemplary role model for every boxer that wants to get into the sport. He's been through a ridiculous amount. In the time I've known him, I knew his brother very well. I knew his brother before I met Chris. Part of the reason I think we ended up together was because of that relationship. And to see what the family have been through, what he's been through, to see how he's had to deal with his father, who is extremely difficult and has said things that I really disagree with and find, quite frankly, disgusting. Some of the elements towards his son, and he's had to deal with that all. And he's a role model for myself. He's a role model for everyone involved. He's been through a lot of shit, and you saw that come out tonight. If you think a fight's going to get to him, if you think the way it's going to get to him, it's not. He is here to really, in his eyes, and this is in his eyes, punish Conor Benn for what happened 2 years ago.
Ben, out of curiosity, Chris keeps alluding to me about this will be one of the best fights in British boxing history. To me, that makes it seem like he thinks and knows it's not going to be straightforward. I know you have to prepare for by any means necessary, but he's clearly not expecting a 120, 108 jab is not a full night.
It's not going to be straightforward.
You truly believe that?
It's not going to be straightforward because you've got a professional boxer who, regardless of ability, is extremely fit, extremely strong, and extremely motivated to come in there and take his head off. And it doesn't matter who that is. If someone's that game and wants to take your head off for 3-4 rounds and has the power and the athleticism to do so, as a younger man, not worried about making weight, it's going to be frantic, it's going to be difficult. But I tell you where it's going to be the best fight, or one of the best fights we'll ever likely to see. Chris Eubank Jr. will not be taking a backward step. People think that he is. He will not be taking a backward step. And that's going to create...
You think he'll go out there and have a gunfight?
People are talking about the ring being an advantage for Conor.
So Chris accepted this?
People are thinking
when was
the
this
ring size...
accepted?
Listen, the first fight that they signed for was the ring, so
okay,
it was
18.
and so it's quite hard to reverse from that position, given that that was what was agreed. But people believe that that's an advantage for Conor Benn. I promise you, it's not. Chris Eubank Jr. is a brawler. Chris Eubank Jr. is a come-forward fighter. I don't think he has to think too much about this fight.
Just finally from me. Why do you believe your man, and how do you believe your man wins? And can you believe that in this very stadium that we're stood in right now, in front of 70,000 people, that bell will ring and the two of them will go at it?
It's not going to go the distance, so it's going to be Chris Eubank Jr. by knockout. Could it be hairy at times? I believe so. I don't think it's going to be straightforward. But he'll win. He will definitely win because he's the better boxer. And as long as a freak of nature shot doesn't come his way. And I look back on Liam Smith and I have to say Liam did extremely well that night, and I was promoting Liam Smith that night. I think maybe that's a lesson for Chris Eubank Jr. that he's not going to let happen again. And that's maybe working at his disadvantage. It's what sold the fight because people now know that Chris can be stopped. But yeah, I think Chris is gonna end this one in 5 or 6 rounds, but it could be the best 5 or 6 rounds that you're ever likely to see in a British boxing ring.
Ben Shalom, thank you very much for your time. Two sleeps to go, and we see one of the best fights in British boxing history.
Thank you
very much.
Live on DAZN Worldwide, April 26th, Eubank Jr. versus Benn. 30 years of rivalry and hatred.
I do hate him.
All comes down to this. The next generation, a new destroyer. For family, history, legacy. Eubank Jr. versus Benn, April 26th. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.